Hi everybody, this is Bullseye Handicapping. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I've already started my day. Today's the day I play. Today is the day that I get involved and do my Bullseye Handicapping, which is all done. Only playing possibly 2 races today. That's Bullseye Handicapping, is to play as few races as possible. But when you play, you try to make an investment where you can make a couple of pennies. And main major objective is not to rip up the ticket. Bullseye Handicapping is to pass at 95% of the races I've played over the 50 years. I used to play around 2,000 races a year. Imagine that, 2,000 races a year times 50 years. That's a lot of races. So over the last 10 years, 6 years, and definitely the last year, I've reduced it to playing only on Saturdays, only playing graded races. The road to the Derby's a lot really enjoyable. So that's the number one goal of Bullseye Handicapping is uh, trying to have as many enjoyable experiences as possible versus the desire to gamble, the desire to play. I want more. I want more. Um, it's too painful after a while. 10 years ago, it became too painful, so I didn't enjoy it anymore. So I started putting in all kinds of disciplines and all kinds of ways of saying, I don't want to play these races anymore. I don't want to play this track anymore. And I narrowed it down to just graded races, because what you see on the racing form, usually comes, it's pretty close. In these other races, you have no idea. You have no freaking idea what's going to happen. Then on turf, it's a lot to do with trips, so it's totally out of your control, and you just got to get lucky. So I started sitting in the bleachers for a little long time, reducing races, and watching, and just still handicapping, but not playing. And I realized how many losses you have to endure. And that's the problem, is that, why do a game that, you're constantly getting, beat up and beat up and beat up? Why don't you just play, less? And that took me 10 years, like I said, 6 to 10 years. And, but I've arrived here after 50 years. I've arrived where I'm just playing on Saturday. And it was kind of funny. Yesterday was difficult. I couldn't believe how difficult it was early in the day. I had, these, like Jones, and I was Jones, and I wanted to play. So I danced, and I got rid of that tiger. And you have to have some kind of kung fu, some kind of outlet, some kind of physical outlet where you can shake up your being. And I have an energizer program called Get Up, Get Out, Get Energized, and I use that program to energize my being, to shake out that devil of my desire. I want more. I want more. I gotta play. I gotta play. I'm bored. I got nothing to do, so I have to play. And that right there is where we lose. We never even give ourselves a chance. And that's why, Bullseye Handicapping, my Mofo Joe, is all about, playing as little as possible, and only playing when I'm wowed. Only playing a race when I'm wowed. And I was wowed by the Wood Memorial more than any other race, even more than the Bluegrass. I was a little bit shy of the Bluegrass because of the rain, but now it looks like it's going to be fine, so I could possibly look at that too. So what do I mean by only playing a race when I'm wowed? Well, the race has to talk to you. It has to say something to you. It has to say to you, You know, and like the late Mike Pizzola would say, you know, you look at the favorites and you say to yourself, are these horses truly the favorites? Are they that good? And they both are. You know, the one horse is that good, and, and so is the 13. They both have, you know, thoroughgraph numbers, you know, in the twos. And it looks like a two or a one or a three, maybe even a four is going to win the race. I watch Past the Y. I watch all the shows because I'm not playing all these other days. I'm not playing 6 days a week. I'm only playing one day, and then I'm only playing two races out of the 14 races you could be playing, 11 races, whatever it is. Um, I'm really proud of myself of having the kung fu of not playing, you know, and just waiting and waiting and waiting and you know having my black belt in just the you know the instead of bankroll depreciation, I have bankroll preservation by having all my money intact, so that when I do make an investment, I can be extremely confident about it. So, yeah, I got a little bit shaken by the fact that you know I don't think you know if I got 6 to 1 on the 8 horse courting, you know, would I feel good about that? And I'm not sure I do feel good about that. I really would like to get, you know, 8 to 1 minimum and more like 10 to 1 for me to feel real good about it because the risk factor is very high and 6 to 1 wouldn't really match the risk factor. So that was a dilemma, and I've been fighting with that and fighting with that. But you know, again, what happens to you is that you have to have ninja balls when you're playing our game because you know you waver, you know you doubt, you doubt. Unfortunately, horse players want certainty, and there's no such thing. Like I want certainty that my selection is gonna you know do what I think it's supposed to do. But there's no such thing as certainty. There's nothing certain about our game, but that our approach is for certainty. And that's what I mean by you have to have ninja balls is, you know, if the story tells you something and you like the story and you've been wowed, you got to stay with your story. You can't go back, rubber band back and forth in your mind. And then you have to detach. So once I make up my mind, I make the investment and then I'm done. I'm done. And don't watch it live. You watch the replay, and that experience is pretty enjoyable because what you know you could stop it, you could see you know because the key to this race for me with courting, besides the price, is the fact that he's got to break. Courting's got to break, and he's got to get at least not get into trouble, and at least not lose 4 or 5 lengths at the start. That's all you want to see with courting in the beginning of the race is, you know, don't lose 5 lengths at the start because you broke poorly again. That's why I like to change. I like to change in the jockey to Kendrick because of the fact that there's a need for a change. He can't break, you know, 5 lengths behind the field. He'll have no chance again, like he did when he was a 2 year old. So that's the key right there. But again, getting back to don't detach and don't watch it live because you don't want once you make up your mind and once you're done with your story and once you've been wowed and once you've you let the bet make you and you have a felt sense that this is what's going to happen, then you're done. You're done. You make the investment and you just shut down and you go dance. I go dance. I go dance and change and get out of the horse racing bubble and then come back in later and watch the race. You know, pause it and put it, you know, it'll be on TV, pause it, and then come back and watch it. And instead of 2 minutes, you're going to be watching this thing for 5 minutes, which is a phenomenal experience. And like I said, I've been practicing this for, 6 years solid and real solid for the last year, actually 2 years. And these experiences are become ironclad because you have to be comfortable. You have to have a mojo that's comfortable. After everything you've done to come to your conclusion in your story and the joy of handicapping, now you got to make the bet. The guy at Shake Up is real good at that. He's definite with the bets. He has a structure. You have to have a structure. I have to have a structure. Guy to pass the wire. He talks about it all the time. Bet your opinion. Bet your opinion. And he's right. A lot of these guys know exactly what they're doing, but they play too much. I'm playing for 50 years. I don't need to keep playing another race. I got 80% I'm going to lose anyway. And over the last couple of years, I've also been training myself to be a winner. And one of the things about training yourself to be a winner is sacrifice. You gotta, only go to the prom, only play on Saturdays, only play one race. This Saturday maybe 2 races, and maybe I'll come back and talk about the Keeneland race because I'm going to go into that next. So right now, the way I'm seeing the race, because everything seems to be flowing correctly, I just got to see how Aqueducts, that there's no major bias. Again, it's really not about just that because I think the race is going to be run fairly. I'm not really concerned so much about that. Plus, I don't want to give myself excuses to have to wait to put the investment in, because that's the hardest part, is pulling the trigger. Trying to get lucky and get paid, but you have to have ninja balls to pull the trigger. To take a leap and risk it all. The 1 unit, because you've waited all week. You haven't played all week, so the last thing you want to do is start to wobble. Like the late Mike Pizzola said. If you're gonna stand, stand. If you're gonna sit, sit, but don't wobble. If you're gonna stand, stand. If you like something, play it. Stick with it. Go down with it. Fight with the confidence of what you got. If you're gonna stand, stand. If you're gonna sit, sit, but don't wobble. So wobbling would be be doubting yourself after you spent days and weeks and months getting to this point. So it's not just having ninja balls, it's about also not wobbling. So again, I haven't been doing these videos too much because of the fact that I'm at the end now, and it's really not that important to have ego about the game. It's just I do it anyway. I do it because I just again we do whatever makes us happy and whatever makes us and I've been playing for 50 years, so I'm sharing the end of my journey here with other horse players. Anybody ever wants to chat with me, I'm at 475-279-5398. Bullseye Handicap. Trying to get lucky and get paid on the Wood Memorial. And my horse is courting. And I'm hoping to get 10-1. If I can get 10-1, then it's a green light. So right now I'm going to try to relax and take it easy. Enjoy the day, leave the horse racing bubble, and go into the world bubble. And hopefully make Gary and I happy for our journey to the Derby and possibly to the Breeders' Cup. So as Harvey Pack would say, may the horse be with you. Bye now.